We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now, a world broadcasting tag team champions of the world and a cruiserweight champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
And this is episode 207 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. Find me on Twitter at EthanM95. Go ahead and follow James at
JHW Reporter.
And follow Rob at
Rob Flores Media, and don't forget the R2, the answer, Ethan.
Nowhere to be seen under this new regime. Probably for best for business. Honestly.
Wow.
That division's dead. That's surprised we saw. I'm surprised we saw the title this week.
Well, because isn't an old girl in a tag match? And she's,
yeah.
Like Tamina?
Yeah.
But aren't they out already? Or no?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it maybe in the second segment. That's a second segment type of thing.
Well, what are we talking about in the first segment?
We got to talk about the big returns, sir. Karrion Kross and Scarlett have returned. They returned last Friday night on SmackDown when Karrion Kross attacked on Drew McIntyre from behind, left him laying. Scarlett. And you know what Scarlett did?
What did she do?
She acknowledged her tribal chief.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
I mean, she looked at him, I guess.
They both acknowledged their tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Is that what you call it?
Well, they looked at him and they glared. They acknowledged his presence, that he was in the ring.
I mean, I guess they did the Usos too, though.
Sure, the Usos were there.
Sure, the Usos were there. Great.
Of course,
great.
The bloodline sticks together. Of course, our special counsel was out there, recovered. Roman wasn't happy about that. Poor special counsel. Still recovering from that F5 from the table.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Well, shouldn't be in the way.
Thoughts and prayers to Paul Heyman. I hope he's recovering very comfortably. I think he's on the island of relevancy right now, kind of training, getting back into council shape.
Yeah, I was gonna say, damn well he ain't training for anything.
What does that mean? Come on, you don't know what he does.
You're right, I don't, but I'm just guessing.
What are your thoughts? Your thoughts?
Thoughts on Karrion Kross or Paul Heyman?
Both, I guess, but no, Karrion Kross and Scarlett are back.
Yeah, they're back, and I think it's kind of interesting. It makes you wonder, again, and I heard this somewhere, whether maybe it was on Jim Cornette's podcast or something, but it makes sense. It makes you wonder, though, Karrion Kross didn't sign with AEW or anything like that. Now, how far out does Triple H know or something like that? But I'm sure maybe there's still a line of communication there where they're having a conversation and they're able to just kind of talk through these kind of things, right? And say, hey, maybe don't sign anywhere permanent and we'll try and get you back in. I do think it was interesting that they kept his old look or his new look. Maybe it's for the better that they did that. Now, we didn't see him in any ring attire. He was in just a denim outfit, right? Or the Canadian tuxedo, no? Or no? Or am I wrong?
Leather jacket.
Or was it a leather jacket?
We've seen that jacket before. It's a typical non-wrestling attire.
Right. So I'm just kind of curious to see where they go from here with him as far as his ring attire, because it's not like his ring attire was all that the last time we seen him on TV. But I think it is a good thing that he is back and they put him right there in a prominent spot. Now, it looks obviously with the tactics that he took, looks like he's going to be a heel. Roman Reigns is a heel. I don't think he's going to go babyface, right? So it looks like maybe those two won't entirely cross paths right away. Yeah, I said it. He's a heel. He's a bad guy.
I'm sorry?
Roman Reigns is a bad person.
I think he's the biggest babyface in the world. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, sir?
Maybe.
I did not see the dominance of his last 2 years.
Maybe
a true hero.
Maybe in your little eyes.
He sent Brock Lesnar out to pasture. He said, I respect Brock Lesnar, but I hate him. And he sent him away.
He's sorry to break it to you, Ethan, but he's a heel. He's a heel. And yeah, isn't Drew McIntyre the number one contender for the title? So that he's
Drew McIntyre will face Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle.
So it's not like we're getting.
So this came out over the weekend, actually.
Okay, go ahead. What do you know?
Cross was put in the main event scene on purpose.
Yes,
obviously, right away.
If you're gonna do it, do it.
Sure. Apparently, speculation was that he may contend for one of Roman's championships. So it's like they might just start defending those titles individually.
Which means Roman's going to wrestle more?
Well, I think as a way to probably get one of the titles off Roman, so Raw has a championship.
True, but I think that's also a good, that's, again, breaking news to you, but a good heel tactic, right? Like, you're only willing to put up one of your titles instead of both.
Sure.
Like,
I mean, it's, you keep the longer reign, obviously, the Universal Championship on SmackDown, the one he's had for over 700 days.
No, that's a good point.
You keep that one. Still stays intact. So, I mean, yeah, and he doesn't technically have to get pinned. Does not have to get pinned. Could lose that title at triple threat.
I think the fact is that he hasn't been pinned in like 2-3 years, right?
Correct. And he doesn't have to lose, the title he just won by getting pinned. He couldn't lose it in a triple threat. If they want to find another creative way to get the title off of him, I'm sure there's a way. But I don't see him losing both titles in the immediate future. And it seems like they want to have a champion for Raw. There was another report going around various sites that USA was not happy about not having a world champion, which is probably one of the reasons why the US title was kind of been elevated the last couple of weeks. We'll talk about that a little later. But still, eventually we might get that world title back in some capacity.
I think you need to. I think it would be a smart idea.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just some ideas that were thrown around apparently, and Karrion Kross and Scarlett have returned. They're gonna obviously be prominent players. Two people who really weren't given a shot the last go around. Go ahead.
Yes, and I think that's exactly it. I think that should tell you a lot, though. The fact that they knew they messed up.
Triple H said,
well, right.
Vince messed you up.
Yeah,
we're gonna bring you back,
and I wonder my way. And I wonder how much convincing needed to be done. How much more? Apparently, I'm sure his contract had to be a lot higher or better than it was, right? I would imagine.
Apparently, there was still some communication between Triple H and.
That's what I'm saying.
As you mentioned, yeah,
I'd imagine, yeah.
There was still communication, so I'm sure he probably told a number of wrestlers, maybe Dakota Kai included, who returned, and maybe someone else who apparently was in communication. He probably told the people that he wanted to come back, hey, you know what, maybe don't sign anywhere, hold off for a little bit, do some indie dates if you need to, but we'll find something for you, we'll figure out something for you. And it just happens to be Triple H is back in charge. Now it's time to bring everyone back,
and things are changing quickly, and I'm here for it. But also too, so we're going to talk about the other person who returned. Obviously, I wasn't aware of them doing any. Obviously, they weren't doing anything long term. But was Dakota Kai? She was not on NXT. She was not on AEW, right?
No, she wasn't.
So I think that
it was only for her. It was only a couple months, so she was gone the least of everyone who's returned so far. Yeah, it's only been since April. So like right after Mania is when she.
But seeing that's partly that's it for me though too. Is like. I mean, it's not like he knew that far ahead. Triple H said that this was going to happen, right?
Well, the investigation had already begun. There is an update on the investigation, which
I saw there was a dollar figure, yeah. But
yeah, it started in April. It was only 2-3 months ago, so 3 months ago now.
But for them to not have a date, not have any long-term contract for that long, you know what I mean? And if you look at the three people, if you're including Scarlett, but it's like. None of them were in AEW. None of them were, it just kind of makes you wonder. Like,
sure, they saved their money. I know they were doing some of them. They were doing indie dates. Not Dakota. I don't know what she was doing, but
what I'm saying is like, these are all people who could have and should have been in AEW, right? More so than anybody else, just because of their age, of their age or where they're at, right? But it's
with
just
the roster AEW has. I don't know if they want to be signing anyone else.
But if you're bringing people in, like it was no secret that was it Killer Cross? What is it? Karrion Kross was Karrion Kross was supposed to be a star, right? Like that's not a surprise for anybody.
Sure, but it's not like he was already a main roster guy. A lot of
they signed Jeff Hardy. He beat Jeff Hardy.
he lost to Jeff Hardy in his first match.
He did lose to Jeff Hardy, but
Jeff Hardy's Jeff Hardy, so
that's part of the problem.
And they probably regretted signing
part of the problem, but I don't know. Maybe it's just interesting. It makes you wonder who else that's been out there, like a Johnny Gargano who hasn't signed anywhere.
Oh, I would expect to see him back shortly. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
As well. But any more things about Karrion Kross and Scarlett return before we move on?
Again, I just think it's crazy. Like, not only was he in a bad gimmick, they put him in a new gimmick that was bad. They had him lose to Jeff Hardy. They didn't have Scarlett. They didn't have the Scarlett. They didn't have Scarlett on the main roster at all.
They didn't have the entrance. They didn't do any of the presentation that worked in NXT.
What was the presentation? I'm trying to remember.
The theme song. I mean, there was.
Did he have a theme song coming out? Like, did people know it was him before he attacked McIntyre? Or did he run out on McIntyre during?
No,
he got McIntyre blindsided, right?
Yeah, he came out from behind. Scarlett came out first, with the music and everything. But
so there was music. Okay, is the same music?
Same theme song.
Okay,
but hopefully he gets his full entrance back. Something he didn't have the last go around. They took that away and everything. Scarlett, the whole thing. So
now, are you okay with the hair? What do you think of the hair? Where do you?
I didn't realize I was kind of following along social media over the last since he's been gone.
Yeah,
so I've seen him his hair
with hair. Okay.
I'm like, I don't understand why he didn't have hair. It was a choice, I guess, personal choice, because he has a full head of hair. So, but I mean, I'm fine with the hair.
Like I don't know. He doesn't look any less intimidating or anything to you.
No, I mean, I guess the bald look worked for him, but
I've kind of seen some photos of him and her together, like on.
I think the hair works probably better.
I think it because like on one of their Instagrams or something, or it was on Twitter or something. He can give off this very like well kept up, not sophisticated, but just very well kept up.
Wear suits, which he did last time his NXT run, yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I guess when you're bald headed, you can't wear a suit. I don't know. But it
looks too
there's more you can do with them other than
henchman type.
And he just looks more. You just look like a dark character. Like that's what he was. And like this, he can. There's a little bit more flexibility, I think, what you could do with this character. I feel, at least from an appearance standpoint.
Sure. So that happened. Big way to end Friday Night SmackDown last week.
Did it catch you by surprise?
It did. Apparently, earlier in the day, reports went out that there was talk about bringing him back. Showed up right on SmackDown. So, those talks were relatively quick. The same talks were apparently said about the other returnee that came back on Monday. I think I'm going to hold off on it just because I want to talk about there's more to discuss about what happened with that return. But let's talk about we got Shinsuke Nakamura versus Gunther coming up with the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown. It's going to happen. Should be a good match.
Talk about hard style. I mean, there's.
I feel for Nakamura's chest already.
I mean,
he's a striker himself.
But that's the thing. He's going to kick back. That's part of the thing. It's like
he's pretty stiff too. The king of strong style for a reason. So,
but it makes me wonder. Okay, so this is on SmackDown. You're saying?
Yeah.
Makes me wonder why the heck this isn't at the
Clash
Clash thing. But at the same time, I think that's a good thing. And one of the things with Triple H is like they're telling stories and
you beef up your show. You make every show feel important.
Like, I'll just mention it briefly. The Edge Damian Priest thing.
Sure.
In 2 weeks.
In Toronto.
When in your hometown where you haven't competed at in however many years. He like laid it all out.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, that's good.
We got something to go look forward to in a couple weeks.
I'm
looking forward to next week.
I'm 2 weeks invested, knowing that Edge hasn't wrestled in 12 years. in Toronto for WWE and is now coming back and is supposed to have a match. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
And it's not hard. That's not like that's what's so hard about that. That wasn't hard to do. Like, why can't we have more of that?
I was recovering from my illness. Still am a little bit, but I think I'm good now. But still
you look a lot better.
Still a little congested here, but it's all right. It's all right. Overall, I think I'm feeling pretty good. So I got to watch Monday Night Raw at home.
All 3 hours?
All 3 hours.
Wow.
It didn't feel like 3 hours.
That's what everyone's saying.
The pacing was great. There was obviously a story, which we'll talk about after the break, that kind of went through the night.
Are you talking about the thing I think you're talking about? Because I had that on my notes.
It had to do with the return.
It's
all connected.
Okay, maybe we're not talking about the same thing, because the thing I'm talking about I think is great but also maybe kind of pointless.
I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
After the break.
Because I'm excited. Like, I'm just like,
the women's division looking great.
It's looking great.
There's a women's tag tournament that kicked off, and we found out everyone. We'll talk about everyone.
We'll talk about it. But when we do, though, I'll mention it here. So AJ's coming out to the ring, right? And before they're doing a backstage segment.
Yeah.
And so as one of the women tag teams is finishing their segment, whatever, instead of cutting to a whole different part of the arena, they AJ
walk past each other
and now the focus is on AJ.
The camera follows AJ to the ring.
And this is great.
Why is that so
hard?
Stuff. It's simple stuff.
But for me though too, it's like I feel like that's more than just a Triple H thing. Is Triple H really saying like, oh, make sure you smooth Trent? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, maybe people are working harder, or their ideas aren't being shot down.
I'm sure Triple H probably said, we gotta, because that's what they did in NXT. They did that stuff in NXT. They would have stuff in the background happening too. They would have stuff in the parking lot, which we'll talk about the parking lot.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we guys talk about that.
We'll talk about that. There's a lot of stuff going on backstage. I remember, I don't know if you remember this. This is like 2 years ago, at least, where it felt like a sitcom backstage, where something was happening in NXT, where people were Undisputed Era. I think were driving a car. Johnny Gargano was like walking by. There was stuff happening all over the place.
I think I might remember.
It's vague. We gotta find the clip somewhere. But it felt like a sitcom. Like I was watching a TV show of like everyone's kind of doing their own thing backstage. Doesn't have nothing to do with wrestling.
Right.
But that's what we got glimpses of on Raw, where everyone's just they're doing their own thing, but they're still kind of interacting with each other, but still doing their own thing. The AJ and then the women, just
right.
It was something simple, but
and it wasn't like they ignored each other too, right?
No,
they kind of gave each other a look or whatever, and
that was that.
And it was acknowledged on the social media feed. They said, "Oh, women tag team that we'll talk about later coming across, meet AJ or interact with AJ." Something they made it more than what it really was, but it was just interesting to see, and I thought it was great.
Felt very lively. So. When we return, we're going to talk about another big return. We'll talk about the parking lot.
Yeah, I need to know more.
We'll talk about the parking lot. We'll talk about the women's tag division. We'll talk about anything else we can think of right here on episode 207 of Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 207 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. I am your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and producer, Rob Flores. Go ahead and find us over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. Leave a like, download it, share it with your friends, leave a comment, share it with your enemies.
Tag team partner, your Uber driver, the stranger down the street, the stranger that you shouldn't talk to, but you're going to talk to anyways, just so you could tell them about the podcast, but then you're not going to talk to them for very much longer. You're going to run away.
The stranger looking through your window right now, watching you watch us.
Like, kind of remind me of the vibes of someone who just returned recently. Do you want to talk
Very
about
Michael
it now?
Myers-esque
No,
return, if you will. So let's start from the beginning, shall we?
Yeah, because I feel like I missed some of it.
There's a through line to this. At least we think there is.
Oh, you think that part has to do with that?
Oh, it does.
Oh, well, go from the beginning because okay, if
Let's
you're talking
let's
about
start.
you're talking about the
Yeah,
parking lot
yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
Okay, I
There's a
only
through line.
saw I only saw one segment of it. I only noticed it in one segment. I didn't know this was an all night thing.
Oh, this was an all-night thing.
It happened. I noticed it during the Kevin Owens part, but go ahead.
So that was the first. That was the first one.
Oh, that was the first part. Okay, so I didn't. I'm not okay.
So we'll mention it briefly. Kevin Owens dropped Ezekiel on his back. This is basically a return of KO from NXT. So Triple H is booking him.
Yes.
How he used to book him. So, anyways, we got that Kevin Owens back. I'm sure we're probably gonna get Elias back or something because Ezekiel's probably out. So
maybe.
Wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But anyways, KO's going to the parking lot. He was leaving. Kevin Patrick, the backstage reporter, announcer, whatever, goes out to him.
Okay. Yeah.
Ask him a question. Why are you doing this? Why'd you do this? Whatever. KO explains his reasoning. You're not really supposed to pay attention. You're sort of paying attention, but there's something going on in the background. There's a car that ran into a barricade of some sort.
Yeah, pole.
You see Nikki, ASH, and Doudrop, as well as a few other individuals there, kind of figuring out what's going on, what's the situation. And so that happened.
Okay, real quick.
That was the first thing.
So
this was all in the background. This was not acknowledged by Kevin Owens. Wasn't acknowledged by the camera. This was just its own thing.
And to me, I thought not that. I mean, it was fine, I guess, for what it was. It was like a nice nugget there, but I thought you were gonna see the reporter head over to that, and we were gonna get some explanation. Or I thought Kevin Owens was gonna turn around and say, "What the heck is this?" I thought there was gonna be some acknowledgement of it, and there wasn't, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I'm like, really? We're just gonna ignore the car in the back? And I think I tweeted it. I think Sean Ross Sapp tweeted it, and I was like, yeah, I know I'm not crazy. Like, what's the deal? Like, what happened? And so it stood out. And again, those are the little things that kind of pique your interest and make you wonder, like, am I crazy? Or makes you start looking now I have to start looking carefully in every segment.
You gotta pay attention.
Yeah.
Sir. Come on now.
It's like you're playing Where's Waldo in a 3-hour show, which is cool because now I have stuff to pay attention to.
Later on in the evening, we get Alexa Bliss and Asuka.
Yeah.
They bump into, or they're doing a little interview first, talking about the tag team division, talking about Bayley, Io, and Dakota. And we'll talk more about the tag division in a bit. But in the background, you see the car getting put on a tow truck and towed away. Shortly thereafter, Control, I don't know if that's their official name, but it's Bayley's group. They come in, and they kind of have a little back and forth. You see security and police run behind Alexa, kind of in the background. Doesn't get acknowledged.
Not at all.
Bayley, they all kind of look, and then kind of Bayley's group, like, let's just go. That's where they walk away, run into AJ Styles.
Right. And it was almost kind of like awkwardy. Because they're like, because I was kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah, what's happening?
But then Bayley and her group were like, kind of like, what? But then they just kept walking.
They just walked away. They're like, okay, let's get
and
out
so
of here.
It was kind of great though, because it didn't feel like
it was an actual story.
Yeah,
it felt very natural.
It felt natural.
Like, hey,
it felt
that's
genuine.
Not supposed to be happening.
Right. Yeah, because that's what you. Sorry, but because that's the reaction you should have when you have a bunch of cops or security guards running past you, right?
What's going on? Like,
and then that's when we had the thing with AJ where they
cross paths.
They cross paths with AJ, and AJ's coming to the ring.
Maybe a little foreshadowing there because AJ was in the main event with The Miz. No disqualification match, fun match. Wasn't too long, maybe 10 minutes. AJ got the victory there. By the way, kicked out of a skull-crushing finale and a chair shot, and these matches are being elevated. That's typical matches. There's a couple of matches that were elevated.
This is true. And for whatever it's worth, The Miz was the hometown boy there, and they were in Cleveland for the show, I believe.
He was. Yeah. So was Ziggler, who had a great match with Gable earlier in the match. Just two good wrestlers having a match. But we get to the main event. AJ wins his match. After the match, you see kind of the audience looking to the side. Camera kind of just follows AJ, and AJ kind of notices something in the crowd. The police officers have detained an individual.
Now, does he notice this? Because I didn't, sorry to interrupt you, but I did not notice this until after the match. Did he notice this during the match, or was there something during the match that I missed? Because I started, I saw his reaction after the match, and it made me rewind, because I was like, what's going on? And then you see something.
I believe this is toward the end.
So it was at the end, right?
Yeah, it was at the end, because nothing, as far as I know, happened during the match. They were doing their thing. Yeah. So AJ sees a person being detained. The person gets up. People are like confused because people don't know what's happening. They take off this person's hood, and it's good old Dexter Lumis.
But see, I never saw that part, and I rewinded. How far back did I need to rewind?
AJ Styles. The camera was focused on AJ Styles.
Right.
The camera was not focused on the incident occurring on the outside. There is you could kind of see it from afar if you recognize
barely.
But you hear the commentators, both Corey and Byron, saying, "Is that Dexter Lumis?" Kind of in a low voice, very low voice. They don't even say it out loud, like, "Oh, it's a big thing." They say kind of very whispering, like, "Is that Dexter Lumis?"
Because
what's happening?
I saw AJ look into the crowd, and I just thought a fight broke out that shouldn't be happening between fans. And then I think I heard Corey Graves say, whoa, what is that? And that's what made me start rewinding. But I didn't hear anyone say Dexter Lumis. I didn't see him or anything. And then someone tweeted it out that it might have been him or that he returned. I was like, oh, when did he return? And then I think I later saw a close-up, I think on WWE Social or something.
It was WWE's Instagram. I got the close-up. Before that, there was even fan footage of someone in the crowd filming the person being carried out, and they realized, oh, it's Dexter Lumis. But no, it was the camera did not follow this. They didn't switch cameras. This wasn't quote unquote part of the story.
It didn't look planned. It stayed
on AJ. As soon as they carried Lumis out, like from a distance, camera goes back to AJ. AJ's back to normal. Closes out the show. There is no, we just saw a big debut. No, they kind of just focus back. AJ, no camera changes.
Right.
It felt natural. For anyone who doesn't know Lumis, they probably thought it was just a random person because you saw people in the crowd like wondering what's going on. Who's that? Obviously, people who know, but that's great. It was a background story this entire episode, and I'm intrigued for next week.
But see, even though I knew all of those things happened, I just until you're doing it until right now, like I didn't even like put them all together. Did you know that?
Some people didn't. No,
did you? Did you know Smarty Pants?
When I first saw it, I'm trying to think. Did I?
I mean, you're not gonna know the first one because you're just like, what the heck is this, right?
Sort of. I think because I did recognize the police or security, whatever. I guess maybe, but no. I think if you don't put pieces together, you don't think, oh, he had something to do with the car incident, whatever that was.
Right. And has anyone said that, or are you just still kind of putting it together?
Oh no, people on Twitter have put it together.
They pieced it together now.
Like, hey, it's Lumis probably caused this accident.
Right.
The NXT parking lot got a call up apparently.
Yeah, I've heard about
dangerous things are happening.
I've heard about the history of the parking lot at NXT. Yeah.
Kevin Owens attacked. What was it? Dale Tommy. Who else got attacked back there? Everyone was getting attacked in that parking lot.
It was like a whole thing. Yeah, it had been a thing for a while.
Unsafe.
It was funny. Rakishi tweeted for the car being crashed. He said this one was not me or something. That was funny. I just thought it was good stuff. It shows that there's.
I'm intrigued.
Now, you're intrigued, but then also, again, you have action going on in the crowd that reminds me of Goldust back in the day when he was doing that riot. I don't know if you remember that. He was It was almost like he was like turning. I don't want to say he was turning Christian, but he was like turning where he didn't stand for what his gimmick used to be, and so he's like, almost, I don't know, whatever you want to say, but he was almost like the right to center before right center. He would have up signs and he would like protest or whatever, but there was no anything to it. He would just randomly show up, and that's what this can totally be. Like, it may have nothing to do with AJ or he was going after AJ. It could just simply be he's just going to show up in random matches before it eventually leads to something, right? So this doesn't necessarily tie him to AJ, even though AJ was, again, kind of involved in that second segment there.
Sure.
But there's still a whole lot of wiggle room and story to be told here on why Dexter Lumis is there and where they're going to go with him, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, maybe this means he's not signed because he wouldn't have gone through all the trouble just to be in the crowd and get dragged away. So, and for all we know, he may show up on SmackDown too.
That's a possibility. Tommaso Ciampa at a U.S. Championship match against Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
Stellar match. Came out with the Harley Race outfit.
Yeah, kind of confused me a little bit.
Well, he was trained by Harley Race.
Was he by Harley Race? I didn't say trained, I didn't know that.
And Harley Race was the first U.S. champion, so
because I was wondering
about that. Yeah,
I know he kind of mentioned it. There was a promo behind it, but I'm just like, how'd you get the robe? Like, what's going on?
I don't think it's the same robe, but
you think it? You don't think that's one of
that
Harley's
robe
robes?
looked way too nice. I mean, I'm not saying they couldn't keep it up.
I mean, hey, it's not like Harley ever had just one robe.
It fit.
Oh, it fit him well. You're saying
it fit him too good. Unless they got it altered, I think. Who knows? It's probably just tribute.
Who knows? But I didn't know that. I didn't know he was trained by. I think David mentioned Killer Kowalski, who was
Killer Kowalski as well,
who trained Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many Killer Kowalski guys are out there, so maybe that adds to the relationship those guys have. Oh, Kazarian too. Okay.
I think that those are like maybe the few guys that were trained like Kowalski. So, great match. Lashley retained. But during the match, there were references.
Oh.
To one Johnny Gargano. Ciampa used Johnny's submission maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
He also, Corey Graves also mentioned DIY during that match.
Mm-hmm. But do they name him by, like, do they say no?
He's not signed yet. If he is, he's not back yet. I think there's references there. There's people speculating Gargano could be on his way back.
I think he was in a photo with JTG and someone recently that was on the roster, or that was just off the roster.
He's been around. He
was in a photo with somebody at some event.
He was a part of, I think, a panel with like Matt Cardona and Brian Myers recently
for Comic-Con.
Yeah, the figures and stuff. So he's been everywhere. But speculation, theory has not been on TV. Apparently, he did have a relative pass away, so that might be the reason why. But could also be rebooting the character a little bit.
There's nothing to reboot.
He's been getting beat up since Vince has been gone.
Of course, but
he needs his family, James. And you know who his family is, right?
No.
Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae,
what you're doing.
Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis.
You think they're going to go there?
I think he has a potential to go there. For all we know, Dexter Lumis, AJ and Theory, I don't know if they were necessarily feuding, but they've had some little history there. That might not have been an accident that Lumis was there for AJ's main event. Theory might need something to do. I don't know. He might.
Now, are you just speculating here?
Because everyone's beating up Theory ever since.
Are these ideas being bounced around on Twitter? Is this your stuff, or I'm all for it. I'm not.
Oh no, it's not my original idea. I can't take full credit. Although I like the idea, but no, it's been passed around.
If the story could be that detailed as to why, to that degree, I'm all for it. I'm not mad at it.
Theory might need help. We've seen him get beat up by everyone, including Drew McIntyre.
And he still has the briefcase?
Reigns. He still has a contract.
Okay.
Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Lashley. Everyone's been going out to theory the last few weeks. Dolph Ziggler.
Has that kind of happened with everyone who's had the briefcase, though, other than maybe John Cena and Orton?
Not like this.
Maybe not, because Edge and all that.
Like everyone's attacking him at the same time. I mean, like literally, he goes from one segment to the next segment where he.
But doesn't he not deserve a lot of that?
Sure, which is why he needs backup. He needs some guidance, perhaps, by his fatherly figure, by his brother-in-law, some backup.
Mm-hmm.
You give some of these guys something to do. Andy Hartwell, I don't know what she's doing in NXT. I can't.
She was.
She tweeted something. She tweeted something when Loomis came back.
Did she?
A little emoji or something. She tweeted something about it, so she acknowledged that he was there.
They're still married and all that, right?
I thought they divorced or something. I don't know.
He got released?
Or
was he just off TV?
He got released
in this last batch, no?
No, it was like in February or something. I don't know. It was before the last.
Oh, but this is when even her new teammate and all them got released too,
and that's what they did the whole thing with their exes or whatever. Yeah. I don't know what they did, but
right.
I don't know. We might be looking at the way in the future, but then again, Gargano was mentioned during Ciampa's thing. Maybe we see Gargano and Ciampa do something. I don't know. There's a lot of back and forth. Ciampa did get involved in that main event with AJ. Yeah, he was helping The Miz, still associated with The Miz.
Some people were thinking that The Miz was going to go after Ciampa.
Didn't happen.
Too early to happen, I think.
Yeah, probably. So there's a lot of wheels going around. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of things that could happen. Will it happen? Who knows? But it's clear Triple H has some ideas, or at least his people, whoever's putting this together. It was reported Shawn Michaels was tasked with trying to bring back Gargano.
That trained under him or no?
No, but he was with NXT,
just
obviously.
NXT and stuff.
Yeah, so he was apparently given.
And I'm sure
task.
Gargano looks up to him and all that.
Oh yeah, so I don't know if they have Gargano locked in. It could be in for something interesting. Whatever direction they go with, whether they reunite him with The Way, whether they do something with Ciampa, whether they do something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
They brought back 2 people, not including Dakota Kai.
Or Scarlett.
Brought back 3 people. Immediately put them in something interesting. And we don't even know what Dexter Lumis is doing, but it's something interesting. So when we return, we'll talk more Monday Night Raw. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ, HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 207 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and producer, Rob Flores. Talking about Monday Night Raw, shall we? You got some numbers for us, James?
Yeah, sure. Let's dive into the numbers real quick. So Rampage for last week is 468,000.
Low number.
Yeah, kind of low. NXT was 597,000. I don't have Dynamite in front of me at the moment, but I know SmackDown 2.1 million. So not mad. Not bad.
Was on TV.
Tribal Chief, you're saying, was in, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Raw, as you alluded to there, 2 million. So still over the 2 million mark since Triple.
Yeah,
it's been 2 million since Triple H has taken over. So take that for what it is. I mean, they were dabbling right under 2 million.
They were doing 1.5 at one point, 1.4.
Yeah, I think they've been
consistently like 1.6.
I would say closer to 1.6. Yeah, just a little bit under that 2 million for the longest. Now they're hitting that 2 million mark. Now that Triple H there, I think people are curious at the very least just to see what he's doing. And I mean, if that number's going up, I think that's what you want. Just people out of curiosity. Now, if you can hold those people, bring some of those people into, into your weekly viewership now going forward, I think It can only mean good things for Triple H and what they're doing there.
Can I keep up good storytelling? Speaking of good storytelling, let's get into Monday Night Raw, shall we? Kicked off with Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai talking about their involvement in the women's tag tournament. They were interrupted by Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka, and they challenged them to a match. Bayley did, to a 6-woman tag team match at Clash at the Castle. It is happening, confirmed. This should be a really good match.
It's good to see that Bayley is going to wrestle, because when I saw her during this segment, or maybe it was later during the tag segment, but I was like, is she ready to come back? Are they going to try and wait it out and just they're giving her something to do in the meantime? So
she's good to go.
But it sounds like she is good to go, and they're going to have her wrestle. I'm kind of not sure how I entirely feel about them still kind of wearing different stuff. Like, I wish there was a little bit more coordination.
Maybe they were matching gear.
Maybe
6-person match.
I just want something that shows me that they're a team, and they make it feel a little more natural than
coming out together.
Part of it, which they haven't necessarily done.
They've had their own themes, but they walked down the ramp together.
They walked down the ramp, but and then even what is she going by? Not Dakota Sky. That's the mistake that Bayley made and covered it up pretty well.
She acknowledged it, yeah. Io Sky,
excuse me. Io Sky seemed a little awkward coming out of her entrance. I don't know if she was excited or she was laughing about something.
She's always had that chaos factor. She's always had that. So
she just looked like she's a
little crazy.
Like she missed something, but she didn't look like she missed something. I don't know. It was a little weird coming out.
She's all there. She's a little out there. Confirmed names in this tournament: Tamina and Dana Brooke. So 24/7 division. Half of that division was in there. Took on Io Sky and Dakota Kai. The next bracket, right under them from the Raw side, Alexa Bliss and Asuka will take on Nikki ASH and Doudrop next week. It's gonna happen. Over on the SmackDown side, Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah are teaming up to take on the team of Xylee and Shotzi. So 2 kind of put together teams, but they got to use up what they have.
That's why I felt there was going to be a bunch of kind of hodgepodge teams, but at the same time, I think it's okay. Because that's how some tag teams are formed. Like, it takes a tournament and they stick together, and there's some consistency after that. Maybe you can get some tag teams out of this and
at least on the Raw side, there seems to be, it makes all sense.
Yeah.
Dana and Tamina have been doing stuff together for months.
Even though that one comes across as a little funky to me too, but they have the 24/7 stuff, so there's some.
Spoiler alert: they lost. So
yeah,
Io and Dakota Kai took them out. So
as they should.
It is what it is. But Alexa and Asuka have kind of been associated with each other for a couple of weeks now. They've teamed up. And Nikki and Doudrop have been a team. So next up on the last bracket, the bottom corner, Natalya and Sonya Deville. They kind of had an on and off alliance, I guess.
Natalya and Sonya.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to Natalya and old girl?
Shayna, we didn't talk about it. Shayna's #1 contender for that women's championship.
That's right. She's in that mix now.
She's gonna destroy Liv Morgan.
How did she get into that?
It was a gauntlet. Women's gauntlet match. She won.
Oh, I missed that. I wasn't sure if they were building up the Ronda Rousey thing from her or what.
It's a gauntlet. Ronda's suspended, obviously.
Yeah.
So Shayna's back in that title picture.
And so now do we know all the teams in the tournament yet?
One final team I didn't mention. Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark from NXT.
Okay. So
they've never teamed before, but
right, and they're from NXT.
It's a showcase for them, I guess.
So we're not getting Sasha and
we're not getting Toxic Attraction. Missed opportunities.
That's what you're really disappointed about.
I'm heartbroken.
So no Naomi and Sasha.
Well, they're not back. They're not signed as far as we know. despite the
But
rumors.
everyone thought they were supposed to be coming back. This was supposed to be part of it.
They might come back after the tournament's done.
I thought that was the whole point, was they were going to be in this tournament to prove that they never and just win the
No,
tournament.
they come back at the end and say, "Hey, I never lost the titles."
That's fair. I could see that.
They don't need to go through the tournament again. So,
but now, who's your early prediction to win the tournament? And when is the tournament supposed to be finished? It's supposed to be finished by the.
there's not been a date.
They're just gonna.
If they do this at Clash, Dakota Kai and Io and Alexa and Asuka already have a match. I'm not saying they can't do double duty or anything, but I would imagine this is probably going to go longer than the Clash at the Castle.
You think event. So? Okay.
Yeah. Clash at the Castle is happening.
I was going to say, how far along are we from that before the...
That might be coming up maybe later than that. If I can get a date here.
They're going to have a lot of build to it, if anything, at the very least.
Saturday, September 3rd. So hold on. We do have time. We've got 3 weeks.
They're
going to finish that tournament. It seems like they might only be doing like one match a week.
And if they do, that's fine, especially because I'm thinking it's a 3-hour show. There's no way you're not doing 2. But I can see that being the case if you're doing one on SmackDown, one on Raw.
It actually might be done. If that's the case, who's winning those titles? I was thinking Dakota Kai and Io.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Unless you have the titles decided, and then you have Sasha and Naomi challenge for the Clash, but
then you're putting Io and Dakota in.
That's what I'm saying. So are you saying that they're not gonna win it, or is there maybe they win it and they just hold the titles? They don't really defend them then and there. But
the finals could be on Raw or something, or SmackDown.
That's what I'm saying. Then how do you decide that? And it's like, how quick is the turnaround for the next?
So let's see who's.
I don't know.
It's interesting. Next week, you got Alexa and Asuka versus Doudrop and Nikki. Nothing has been announced for SmackDown.
I'm not entirely excited about either one of those. Like Alexa and Asuka seems kind of weird to me.
Well, they've been teaming up for a few weeks, so
it's been a few weeks,
and then they're part of the 6-woman match now with Bianca and Bayley's group. So
still just seems weird, I guess.
But one of them isn't going to make it to the finals because if Asuka and Alexa win, they'll challenge Dakota and Io in the next round. Who from the SmackDown side is going to win?
Naomi and Bayley.
Naomi and Sasha could replace a team. They could do something like that.
But the thing is, like, you can't have the finals on SmackDown or Raw, I feel. I don't know when they would do this. That's the thing. Like, that's part of it. Like, when do they have
We'll find out. We'll find out in the next couple weeks.
Guess we'll wait and see. I'm trying to think what else. There were some other things, I think, from this. Apparently, Sean Ross Sapp said the Dexter Loomis video on YouTube of him making an appearance on Raw has already surpassed 1.5 million.
It's a draw.
I think because they did a good job of not telling you or really showing you. They
didn't show it on TV.
They didn't show it on TV, but it makes you. But see, that's good stuff too, though, because you're like, what is going on? What's happening? So you want to check Twitter. You're gonna check the website. You're gonna find
WWE's Instagram account like I did and share it like I did.
You're gonna want to look for it. So I think that's good stuff. I think that's the right idea there. I think that's what you would want to be going for if you're in that situation. So
really good matches. Pacing was good. See what they got on SmackDown. Let's talk about what we only got 7 minutes left. WrestleMania.
7 minutes already.
WrestleMania tickets.
Yes.
They go on sale this Friday for the general public. If this gets released this
they already be on sale, yeah.
August 12th. Pre-sale tomorrow, August 11th. If you got the code, I have a code. I got to go. I'm on the in.
I think I see
I know
code or
people.
something. Are you going to buy tickets?
Well, I didn't know the plan. What are you doing? What are you guys doing? Are we gonna go together?
I'm planning on covering the dang thing.
So you don't plan on purchasing tickets?
So I'm gambling. Yeah, I'm gambling on.
You're gambling on getting your
on the credential. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm pretty certain that I will be.
You'll get it.
Credential.
Okay.
I mean, it's still, I don't know.
I'm sure there's still time.
It's too far out to say, oh yeah, I'm going. So I don't know if I'm going.
It's 70,000 seater, so
even I thought you were gonna say it was a $70,000 ticket. I was like, good.
It might be.
It could be if you're that desperate there at the end to look for a ticket. And we kind of
getting my tickets.
We kind of had the discussion off air of whether it's a 1 day or 2 day sale, like in terms of how they sell the tickets. If they sell 1 day at a time,
I think they have packages for both nights, so you get the same seats for both nights. But
you're trying to go to both?
Oh yeah, I got to do it. Depending on how much it is, I might do Raw and SmackDown.
I was gonna say,
depending
on access too. Is access free? How does that work?
Access is not
You've
free.
done that before, right?
I've done it. I did it for 31 in San Jose. It was not free, but it was a nice experience. I met Dolph Ziggler there.
Okay. Did you have to wait in line to see these people?
Yeah, you got to wait in line. But they had the Hall of Fame section. I met Warrior's family, his wife and 2 daughters. I got a picture with them.
How fun!
Exciting stuff.
Yeah,
that's what they were doing.
Dana Warrior. Mm-hmm.
That's what they were doing appearances, shortly after his passing and stuff. So,
yeah.
They had the Elimination Chamber set up. They had the ring set up for like NXT matches to happen. I think Paul Heyman cut a promo out there in the ring while I was in line for Dolph Ziggler. So they did different stuff. It's a fun little thing, especially if you want to just see that there's a bunch of merchandise. They have the big superstore right next to it. So, I mean, it's a good experience. I think if you haven't done it, it's fun to do it at least once. If you're going to cover WrestleMania, I think
I'm trying
get all you can just trying to sneak in there.
I'm gonna try and be in there. I'm trying to get everything I can. Yeah.
But no, I'm considering. I mean, it's a lot of money. I might hold off on buying Raw and SmackDown tickets, but those might be gone a lot faster than Mania.
Well, I mean,
smaller arenas,
and there's gonna be a lot of leftover people. Those are gonna be some packed shows.
There are packages, but I don't know if I want to
get all that.
I don't know if I want to be able to do all that. There's a Hall of Fame to consider too. Now they did it on after SmackDown this year. They did it after SmackDown this year. So if you buy a ticket to SmackDown, they might just do the Hall of Fame right after.
You mean when I get a credential for the Hall of Fame, and then I can go to SmackDown?
They won't let you in until
after. Yeah, I know, right?
They say, I don't know.
So that would be the SmackDown before WrestleMania,
the Friday
at Crypto. And then Friday, then you have a WrestleMania on Saturday, Sunday, and then you have people on Monday.
There's an NXT takeover that they did this year during the day before Mania at noon o'clock, 12 o'clock.
They did do that, huh?
So we might be
before WrestleMania.
That might happen at like the Forum or something.
I don't say where was it at? Yeah, it might be at the Forum. I could see that
smaller venue.
Imagine doing NXT that night and then the first day. I mean, it's not as long as it's not a 5-6 hour show anymore. But
when I did it,
still 4 or 5 hours.
There wasn't no two night thing.
There was one day. How long were you there?
I got there Thursday, hung out, went there Friday for Access. That was basically it for that day. No.
How long was the
show? NXT was Friday night. It was like at 11 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
We did Access up until then. The NXT show ended like at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. This is before takeover. Then we did Hall of Fame the next day on Saturday. Mania was Sunday. We didn't stick around for Raw or SmackDown, but
so you went to the Hall of Fame?
I did the Hall of Fame back when it was a Saturday thing.
Was there tickets?
Yeah, it was a separate event.
Who was the headliner for that one?
It was Kevin Nash closed. Macho Man was inducted.
Okay.
Nash closed, I believe. So
I didn't realize you were there for that one. Okay.
I was. So Rikishi was in the class. Medusa was in that one. So pretty good class. But yes, busy weekend.
A busy weekend?
Right now, I think I'm just gonna maybe try and just get Mania tickets. We'll see about the other ones. I don't even know if they're on sale yet. if they'll be on sale yet. Probably not, but.
And the event will already have happened by the time this airs.
You're going to that? You're talking to someone.
I'm going to be talking to somebody. Yes, whether hopefully it works out well, I can record it and we could play it on next episode.
We can't make promises. We can't.
I can't make promises I cannot keep. Yes, no, but
talking to someone.
And I may be able to talk to a few others because I'll be down at the WrestleMania party show thing they're having. There's supposed to be some live event, some live wrestling happening.
Snoop.
Fluffy, the comedian. Snoop's supposed to be out there. Gabriel Iglesias is the name, right, for Fluffy. And then I think the Usos are supposed to be out there. Some other guys.
Bloodline, you can acknowledge the Usos?
No, but I'll tell them you're a big fan.
Good to know. Yeah. See, I would go, but
you'd probably scream like a little girl.
Well, a little too much people. I'm a little PTSD right now, so
you're down.
Trying to keep it out. Trying to keep away from people.
I don't blame you.
So until next time, maybe I'll have WrestleMania tickets.
We'll find out. It's something to look forward to. Who am I talking to next week? And if Ethan's gonna come through with tickets, we'll see how it works out for him.
The premium live event. Say it with me, James. Premium live event on WrestleMania. Until next time, it's been too sweet.
Too sweet.